Hello, Thing.
Ever been completely outshined by a severed hand? Because that's exactly what happened when Wednesday dropped on Netflix. Out of all the eerie characters and gothic vibes, one unlikely star stole the spotlight: Thing. That hand. That creepy, loyal, moody, sarcastic, and surprisingly lovable hand. But wait, what even is Thing? Is he a monster? A magical creature? A cursed soul living as a disembodied limb? Or is there something darker behind those stitched-up fingers? Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're diving deep into the origin, history, and fan theories behind the Addams family's most iconic hand servant. From Charles Addams' original cartoons to Netflix's gothic revival, this is the full story of Thing T Thing, the creepy hand that became a legend. Let's get into it.
Mother and Father sent you to spy on me, didn't they?
A helping hand with a lot of history. First off, Thing isn't some new age creation. He's been around since the early days of the Addams Family, dating all the way back to the original New Yorker cartoons by Charles Addams. Back then, Thing wasn't just a hand. The original illustrations hinted something much weirder, something with a head, a body, and yes, even 8 legs in one wild sketch. One of the earliest gags showed a terrified mailman being warned to beware of the Thing outside the Addams mansion, but we never saw exactly what the Thing was, just glimpses. Peeking out of boxes, hiding in cabinets, sometimes poking out from an animal crate. In the book, The Addams Family, An Evolution, which collects Charles Addams' original works, there's an entire section dedicated to Thing. And in those illustrations, we actually see a fully formed body, arms, legs, feet, even a head. But mostly, Charles preferred to keep Thing mysterious, just popping out as a disembodied hand.
Our first order of business is to escape this teenage purgatory.
The original show, A Hand with Personality. In the 1960s TV series, Thing became the version we all know best. A literal severed hand. But it wasn't just a gimmick. Thing was a fully realized character. He did everything. Brought Gomez his cigars, flipped records, held Morticia's yarn while she knitted, played chess, and even acted as the family's in-house mailman. And get this, Thing was usually played by Ted Cassidy, the same guy who played Lurch. Since Cassidy was 6'9", it wasn't exactly easy to make him disappear behind a table or box just to stick his hand out from a hidden hole. He had to lie on a trolley and be wheeled under the set just to pop out his arm from a hidden hole. And yes, sometimes he used his right hand, sometimes his left, just to mess with viewers. Thing was even credited as itself in the show's end credits. Classic Addams humor.
Where's the rest of him? It's one of the great Addams Family mysteries.
A whole community of hands. Here's where things get weirder. Thing might not be the only one of his kind. In the episode Morticia Meets Royalty, a hand named Ladyfingers emerges from an ornate box carried by a visiting princess. Thing falls instantly in love. Another episode introduces Esmeralda, a jewel-covered, claw-like female hand. And in Thing is Missing, we see a photo of 2 hands, Thing's parents, holding hands. So yeah, apparently there's a whole society of disembodied hands out there. And yes, Thing has a full name, Thing T Thing. What does the T stand for? Thing, of course. From creepy to charismatic, Thing in the Wednesday series. Now fast forward to Netflix's Wednesday series. This is where Thing truly steals the show. Thing makes his entrance when Morticia and Gomez send him to Nevermore Academy to secretly keep an eye on Wednesday. But surprise, she catches him almost instantly. How? She could smell his hand lotion. Neroli and bergamot, by the way. Classy. Instead of being creeped out, she traps him and gives him an ultimatum. Either pledge loyalty to her or get locked in a drawer for the rest of the semester. Naturally, Thing chooses loyalty. That kicks off one of the best partnerships in the entire series.
That's Thing.
Is he?
The loyal sidekick with an attitude. Thing isn't just a silent helper in Wednesday. He's a character with real feelings, a dry humor sense of humor, and plenty of sass. Take his reaction to being called a pet by Tyler. Without missing a beat, Thing flips him off. Classic. But he's also deeply loyal and kind. He bonds with both Wednesday and Enid. He plays matchmaker, helps Wednesday plan escapes, distracts enemies during the Poe Cup, and even buys her a black dress for the Raven dance. And let's not forget how he almost died trying to protect her. That scene when he gets stabbed is absolutely brutal. When Wednesday finds him, limp and bleeding, she genuinely panics for one of the first times in the show. The fact that a silent hand could inspire that much emotion says everything about how well Thing is written and performed.
Keep an eye on Roman. Don't let your fingers out of his sight.
A hand with a heart and a vanity cabinet. Thing isn't just helpful, he's extra. He does manicures with Enid. He gets offended when ignored. He pouts, sulks, and emotionally blackmails Wednesday when she hurts his feelings. He literally reads magazines and lounges dramatically on beds. This hand is living his best life. He's also vain, obsessed with his skin. That's actually how Wednesday manipulates him early on, by threatening his smooth, well-moisturized surface. And it works. And yet, beneath all that sass, Thing genuinely cares. Whether it's looking after Eugene in the hospital, comforting Enid after her werewolf transformation, or freeing Avier from handcuffs, Thing is there when it counts.
okay, I'm taking orders from a hand.
So, what is Thing exactly? Let's get to the question everyone asks. What even is Thing? Is he a reanimated severed hand? A magical being? A monster? A leftover spell? Or something more? Well, the truth is, we don't know. And that's kind of the point. The Addams family has always played in that space between horror and humor, never fully explaining its weirdness. Thing might be a cursed creature, or just part of a species of disembodied hands. He could be undead, magically animated, or born this way. There's even a fan theory that Thing was once human, possibly an Addams ancestor, who got caught in some cursed ritual and ended up living on as a sentient hand. Another theory suggests he's a magical servant species, bred or conjured to serve the Addams household. Then there's the Frankenstein theory, especially relevant in the Wednesday series, where Thing's hand is covered in stitches and scars. Some think Thing was stitched together and brought to life like Frankenstein's monster. But the Addams family has never really cared about consistency or backstory. That's part of their charm. They just accept their weirdness, and so should we.
I'd recognize the patter of those fingertips.
Abilities and weaknesses. Thing might just be a hand, but he's got some impressive skills. He's incredibly intelligent, understands speech, communicates through writing and gestures, even Morse code. He's fast, nimble, and strong enough to carry objects, pick locks, or punch people underwater during boat races. He's also deeply expressive. He can convey sarcasm, joy, sadness, and frustration without a single word, just through movements. But he's not invincible. He can be injured, fatally even, as we saw in Wednesday. That vulnerability makes him even more lovable, because despite his limitations, he keeps helping, keeps showing up, keeps protecting the people he cares about.
Hello, Thing! You can't still be mad.
The secret star of the show. When we look at the legacy of the Addams family, Thing stands out as one of the most bizarre and most beloved characters. Think about it. A hand. Just a hand. No voice, no face. Yet here we are, decades later, still obsessed. He's the perfect blend of horror and humor, loyalty and mischief, and somehow he's relatable. He gets grumpy, sulks when ignored, flirts with ladyfingers, takes pride in his work, and just wants to be seen as more than, well, a thing. In Wednesday, he's not just a sidekick. He's family, not just to the Addamses, but to the audience. Because underneath the scarred skin and finger-pointing sass, Thing is the heart of the show.
You can't still be mad about the Kalamazoo job. It wasn't my fault.
Our nerdy thoughts. So, what is Thing? A monster? A helper? A curse? A spell? Maybe he's all of those things. Or maybe he's just Thing. He's what happens when you take something absurd and treat it with love, care, and personality. He's a symbol of how the Addams family celebrates the strange, the macabre, and the delightfully bizarre. In a world where everyone's trying to fit in, Thing reminds us that it's okay to just be a hand with sass, loyalty, and a really good skincare routine. And that's why he'll always have a place in our hearts, or at least on our shelves, in a fancy box with a little note, beware of the Thing.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.